You wanted the best. You've got the best podcast. The hottest podcast in the world. The Chris Voss Show, the preeminent podcast with guests so smart you may experience serious brain bleed. The CEOs, authors, thought leaders, visionaries, and motivators. Get ready. Strap yourself in. Keep your hands, arms, and legs inside the vehicle at all times, because you're about to go on a monster education roller coaster with your brain. Now, here's your host, Chris Voss.
Hi, folks, Voss here from the ChrisVossShow.com. Ladies and gentlemen, there are things that makes official. Welcome to the big show. As always, for 16 years, 27 episodes, we've been bringing you the top 1% podcast, top 100 rated around the world. It's just wonderful what we've done with our audience over all this time. We certainly appreciate you. But please help share the love. Go to goodreads.com/Chris Voss, Facebook.com/Chris Voss, LinkedIn.com/Chris Voss, and all those crazy places on the internet where you can find all the coolest stuff and all the wonderful things we do. Opinions expressed by guests on the podcast are solely their own and do not necessarily reflect the opinions of the host or the Chris Voss Show. Some guests of the show may be advertising on the podcast, but it is not an endorsement or review of any kind. Today, we're joined by Victoria Carrera. She was born and raised in the heart of New York City, a place of endless possibilities, but also a battleground for those finding to escape the cycle of poverty and despair. From the moment she took her first breath, the odds were stacked against her. She grew up in a home filled with chaos, neglect, and pain, where addiction had taken up root like an unshakable curse, leaving devastation in its wake. She saw the people she saw loved trapped in its grip, losing themselves to substances that numb their suffering but deepen their wounds. She was, at an early age, forced to navigate a world where survival was a daily struggle. She experienced the cruelty of abuse, the sting of abandonment, and the crushing weight of hopelessness. Society expected her to follow the same path as those before her, to become another statistics, another lost soul swallowed by her environment, but something within her refused to surrender that fate. She knew there must be more to life than pain. Joins us on the show now. Welcome to the show, Victoria. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thanks so much, Chris, for having me on. I'm just honored to be on your show. And I'm here.
Well, we're honored to have you as well. So give us any .com, social media. Where do you want people to find out more about you on the interwebs?
I'm on social media. I mainly use my Instagram. I'm not really into Facebook except for the nonprofit that I started, which is God's Love. But you can find me on Instagram under 111 Victory 111. And then I have it's my boxing media company that I started, which is called The Boxing Grind. And that's also on Instagram under The Boxing Grind. It's all lowercase letters.
So give us a 30,000 overview. What's in your new book?
So in the new book, it's called The Devil's Playbook, and it's really an analysis on the book of Job and how modern day society has put God on the worldly level, and we try to justify our actions by saying that God will understand, which, yes, in reality, God does understand the wrong things that we're doing, but that doesn't mean that it's the right thing to be doing. It was definitely different than my first book, which my first book was really just based off of my life story and all of the challenges that I had to overcome, and how I went from sleeping on cardboard and not having food or clothing to doing every possible thing that nobody in my family had ever accomplished before, which included, graduating from school and getting a house and getting a car. None of those things were ever even thought about in my family.
Wow. Well, and you help people break out of that cycle. You run a charity. Tell us about your charity that you have.
Yeah, it's called God's Love, and it's a youth program that's in Albuquerque, New Mexico. And what it's designed to do is help the youth to get life skills. What I've noticed is, well, not only, I want to be the person that I needed, but what I'm also noticing now is that the youth are really just reliant on technology. They don't actually have skills. They don't know how to write a resume. They can't spell words properly anymore. Everything is done through, hey, ask ChatGPT or ask, Wing AI, and nobody's actually, thinking for themselves anymore. So it's designed to help them create a resume, get them ready for job interview preparation, and there's a high poverty rate out here also. So I help them get job interview clothing. We offer certifications for different office software, such as Microsoft Word and Excel, just things that really are becoming, I don't know about stagnant, but we're really not focusing on those things anymore. And out here, there are a lot of teens that have criminal records and they just don't have the job skills needed. And also, I've been working with some companies out here that are willing to give these teens a chance, because sometimes, you have a criminal record and a lot of times people will lie on the job application and then they'll get a job. And then 3 weeks later, it's like, oh, sorry, background check came back. Get the hell out of here. So I've been working with companies and just trying to, these kids just need a chance. Everybody just needs one chance. And of course, you get the people that will, they joke around and they're like, well, what if I have, like 7, major criminal activity things? And I'm like, I'm not talking about like if you, executed your whole family type of thing. I'm talking about, the kids out here that maybe robbed a car or something like that. And no justification in the crime, but we need to help them.
It's interesting. Tell us about your life, because I think that will shape, in your words, that will shape kind of the narrative of those type of people you're trying to save, and you're in essence trying to save yourself, as it were, from your childhood.
Yeah, I mean, from birth, my mother was a prostitute, so there were different men all the time. I was left alone pretty much most of the time. I survived off of eating pieces of I had a blanket. At 18 months old, I was found in the gutter. I was about to be run over by a Mack truck. I was naked as a baby. Nobody was watching me. There was a little shoemaker store. This man saved my life, and he picked me up and brought me over to where my mother was. Everybody knew who my mother was. And, I just remember there was not even like an expression of like, are you okay, child? Like, she put me back down on the floor and, that was it. Like I ate pills at 4 years old, thinking they were food. I still remember having my stomach pumped. They were trying to save my life. It was just event after event. And she also had kept me away from my father. My father was a Vietnam vet. He came home from the Vietnam, addicted to heroin. The times that I was able to see him, I don't care what anybody says, that man protected me. I mean, I had to watch him shoot up, but he protected me. That was the only shield that I had. And, and even with that, there was trauma because, he burned the house down one night.
Holy crap.
It was just like,
that's a bit of trauma, yeah.
It's just, Chris, I'm talking about trauma after trauma. And, thankfully I can laugh about it now, because sometimes I just take a look at every single event and I'm like, damn, I can't even believe that I'm still here. Like, I just can't even believe it. And I never had anybody. And when I became a teenager, I got into trouble because I didn't have any guidance. I was fist fighting on the street. I started, even from a young age, I was like stealing food from stores. Wow. Just trying to survive. And I just find that, I needed a lot of help and there was nobody there for me. So I tried my best to be there for anybody who needs help, especially young people. And especially now, I mean, we have a lot more broken homes than when I was growing up.
Yeah. I mean, it's crazy. No, but it's great that you give back. You haven't forgotten your roots. And all that sort of stuff, that's really important. You're giving back, you're showing other people that can wait. Cause a lot of people, will give up, right? They'll give up and they'll just go, yeah, I don't, I don't see any hope, yada, yada, yada. Right.
I will never give up. And one of the things that I wanted to bring up was like youth boxing, because I started boxing when I was 16 years old. And even though I still had my issues, I was still scuffling around on the streets. Boxing actually gave me the discipline and it gave me the desire to keep pushing through. Huh? It really put me around a bunch of people that I felt were struggling with things that they weren't speaking about. It was like you go into the boxing gym and everybody in there has something going on within them and they're communicating it onto the bag. So youth boxing for me really is something that I care deeply about. I mean, boxing in general, but we have a lot of youth clubs and we have a lot of boxing clubs out here. And there's one that's called House of Aces Boxing. And they're a small club, but, the coach is really great with the kids. And I'm really trying to help, promote that through God's love and looking for like donation equipment and things like that. And, I have a lot of connections in the boxing world, but, getting it out there, you never know who's going to come forward and say, hey, we want to help out,
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Is there a way that people can help out or contribute to the charity and things like that?
They can actually email info@505godslove.com, and I can go with them from there, or they can even just get me on social media and message me, or even my regular email, which is vcarrera1119 @gmail. I'm very responsive. So, if somebody wants to help out, we can use the help.
Definitely. It sounds like an excellent cause for people to do stuff. And what do you feel boxing does? Like I found, I used to always think about going to the gym, like, oh, you go to the gym, you're trying to impress other people, you're trying to look good and strut around, blah, blah, blah. And then I realized that that's not what going to the gym is about. It's about discipline. Mm-hmm. It's a battle within. It's not a battle. Who gives a shit what everyone else is doing? Yeah. They're not me, and I'm not them. I should probably stick to what I do, but it's, the showing up every day, the discipline, even when you don't feel good, you still try and go and work out. What do you feel that, really cultivates inside of you and some of the youth that you give charity to that makes the difference for them in that activity?
I find that not only does it help you give you belief back in yourself, like when you accomplish something and you have the coach there that's saying like, hey, great job, like you did this, it makes you feel good about yourself, especially because a lot of kids, when they're boxing, maybe they come from an environment that they didn't have anybody telling them, hey, good job, or like, hey, you can do it. I came from an environment that had nobody around me, and just to be around people that I felt were like actually paying attention. It's a community when you walk in and everybody's saying, hey, what's up? How are you doing? It's a little bit different than the regular gym setting because, you have a whole bunch of different types of people in the gym. Some people will say, what's up? Some people look at you like they want to kill you. So like, you don't know what you're going to get there. But in the boxing gym, it's really just, you see the same people over and over again. You get to work closely with them doing drills. You have one coach and maybe like an assistant, but all in all, it's a tight knit community. And, even if you.
I think we lost your sound there, Victoria. I think we lost your sound. Did maybe your mute mic change or something?
Yeah, I don't know what happened there.
Okay,
I'm not sure.
Sometimes computers have a mind of their own.
Did you hear me?
The last bit I didn't hear. The last couple of sentences.
Okay, so what I was saying was you get a little bit of a different vibe with regular fitness than when you're in the boxing gym, because in the boxing gym, everybody's there for the same specific thing, and you get to do drills, and you have a coach working closely with you, and it's kind of like a universal thing. Mm-hmm. So when you go like anywhere else and you say, oh, are you into boxing, and somebody else says that they're into boxing, it's an automatic connection.
It's all about that, what would you say? Discipline, organization, stick-to-itiveness. And boxing is hard, it's a challenge. You're going to sweat. Your muscles are going to be sore. You might, pull a thing here or there, it's a challenge, but you're trying to overcome and improve on yourself and make yourself better. And I think that's a real testament to what you did. You didn't give up. As I mentioned in the bio, probably all the reasons you had in the world to just quit and give up and, end up living in the streets. But you focused on yourself. You built yourself. And
listen, I knew from a young age, I said, I'm never going to give up. I am never going to give up.
And that's how you have to be, because otherwise you give up and then you really lose.
Well, look at it, I know people that have given up. I know people that, have given up, and unfortunately they are living in misery. They're my age and they've never really accomplished anything with life.
Talk to us about the other thing we wanted to promote as well. I forget. I think it was, I know you have some books and stuff.
Yeah, so I started it's a television show. It's going to be on True TV. and it's called Split Decision Boxing TV, and it's myself and a co-host. The co-host is actually in New York City, and we give fight analysis, fight prediction, and we have fighters come onto the show and really just talk about the whole boxing world, boxing drama, boxing gossip, talking trash. It's a boxing sports show.
Who's natty, who's not? I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. And then I have my media, my own boxing media, which is called The Boxing Grind. And I absolutely love boxing. So I go and I interview, top boxers, top boxing prospects. I go to the fights and I do like the photography, the videography, and I have sit-down interviews with them for my podcast.
Ah, wonderful.
Yeah.
Wonderful. That's good work. And so you got and what's the name of your podcast again? I think I didn't catch it.
It's The Boxing Grind.
The Boxing Grind. So folks, you can check that out. Is it on iTunes, YouTube?
It's on iTunes. Yes, it is. It's actually on multiple platforms. Spotify. I mean, there's a whole bunch. If you look up The Boxing Grind, it'll pop up.
Ah, The Boxing Grind.
Yeah.
And so you have all these different things you're working on and stuff. And then I don't know if you want to plug the books or anything else before we go.
The first book that's out is called The Daughter of the King. Oh. And it's on Amazon already. Mm-hmm. And then the second book is going to be released. It's called The Devil's Playbook. It's going to be released. I actually was going to release it when I was in Thailand. Well, I went to Thailand and was working as an investigator for sex trafficking.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I know. I do a lot, Chris.
You do a lot. You got a lot on your plate. I'm sitting around here going, I just ate bonbons and talked to some people, and I'm going to go have a snack.
Listen, I may have eaten bonbons too, okay?
Okay, well, there you go. Still have boba over there? Boba drinks?
Yeah. It was supposed to be released then, but I actually got really caught up in mission work when I was there. So I was like, you know what? I don't want to rush anything. I didn't want to rush releasing the book. So I'm hoping that it will be released in March.
Well, it'll be exciting to see that and stuff.
Yeah.
So you're really passionate, I guess, from what I can really tell and your actions, you're really passionate about helping people, saving people, giving people hope, uplifting them. And what a great effort that is that they can do to make the world a better place and lift it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's my life is not mine. I realize that after everything that I've been through, that, God has been with me through the entire thing. And, he has me here for a reason. He doesn't have me here just to sit here. Mm-hmm. So let me just go out into the world and, and like I've traveled all over the world, and I've done a lot of medical mission work and just, giving back in any way that I can give back. I try to give back, whether that's with my time, with, money, or, however I see fit is how I'll do it.
Well, I'm glad you do stuff like that. I mean, how did things work out for your family? Did they recover from some of the issues they were having when you were growing up, or?
So, I mean, both of my parents passed away a long time ago. And actually, like my father wound up getting cancer from Agent Orange. Oh, wow. Which was the herbicide warfare. Yeah. He passed away, and then my mother, she passed away, and I have two siblings that I don't see. I only saw one maybe twice in my life. And then I have another sibling that we're just not close. She's older than me. And, sometimes people, it's like we discussed, when they go through something, they don't get over it. Mm-hmm. And unfortunately, she did not get over it. And for myself, I couldn't. I can only be a light, but I can't help you if you don't want to help yourself.
Yeah.
You know, so we had to. We lived two totally separate lives, and I mean, maybe a text for Merry Christmas, but other than that, nothing.
Oh. Well, you're doing good work, helping people and all that good stuff. What are some other aspects of things that you do that we should talk about on the show?
Well, I I am a child advocate. I work for the state of New Mexico as a like a court-appointed advocate for children that are in foster care, right? So I make sure that the foster children that I'm assigned to, that they're actually being taken care of, that if I go and I do the home visit, that the home is livable. I get to communicate with them and make sure that, they're feeling safe, because that was something else that I went through, because people did call Child Protective Services on my mother, but I would be coached. I was coached.
Oh, wow.
Like, they would ring the doorbell and she would threaten me or say, like, or she would never let them in the house.
Wow.
And she was able to get away with it all.
Wow.
So I make sure, like, I know what to look for. I know when I go into that house what I'm looking for, what looks suspicious. And then combined with that, I actually wound up becoming like certified in child sex trafficking and human trafficking, like investigating in the deep web and trying to help law enforcement track down people who are trafficking children. And that was one of the things that I did when I went to Thailand. But, here in the United States, the trafficking is out of control. I mean, it's happening right underneath our noses. Some major some major hotel chains are trafficking.
Oh, really?
They're trafficking, yeah. And like, we're using these hotels for our own, going on vacation and things like that. But they're trafficking, and like just trying to really, like, we have the Renewed Hope Act, which is with the Tim Tebow Foundation. I don't know if you're aware.
Oh, yeah, Tim Tebow. Yeah.
Yeah, so the Tim Tebow Foundation, he had the Renewed Hope Act, which is the bill that we're trying to pass. And I was actually going to go down to the congressional hearing because as a citizen, you're able to go down there. And I actually have a whole thing written out if they would allow me to speak. And, what the Renewed Hope Act would do would enable stricter policy for the internet and what children are able to access. Because, like, in these video games that you play online, anybody can access them with the chat online. And a lot of children are being kidnapped and trafficked through meeting from those online chats. And we need to have stricter regulations in what the child can access and not, because like if a child tries to access something, they can just make up a birth date.
Yeah.
They can make up their birth date. Okay, I'm 18. No, you're not. You're 12. So we need to have stricter regulations, and the parents, nobody's even paying attention anymore. Most of the time, parents really don't know what their kids are doing online. And there are so many hidden chat apps that, as an investigator, we go through the whole list and we look for things on the deep web. I mean, they have full access to the children here. And it's not just here, obviously, in this country, but in Europe, in Africa, in the Middle East. Middle East trafficking is huge.
Wow. Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, some of those things they do over in Dubai and other places are kind of crazy too. Yeah.
Oh yeah. I mean, I traveled. I traveled through some Middle Eastern countries, and it's very out in the open. I mean, Thailand was when I was there and asking people if they wanted help when they were being trafficked, or like the sex trade is so common there that they were looking at me like I was crazy. They were like, what are you talking? I'm going to work. I'm going to work. What do you mean? And I'm like, no, you don't understand. You don't understand. Yeah. You don't need to be doing this. So, but it's, we need to start with here, right? I mean, I go out and I do provide medical care in other countries, but like, as far as the trafficking here, like El Paso, Texas, Phoenix, Arizona, Dallas is huge for trafficking. And really just taking the time to investigate, and the investigations are going on for years. Yeah, it's not just a 1, 2, 3 thing, and you also have to be safe because I'm an outsider. I need to know what my boundary is. You know, when should I stop? When does this all need to be reported? And you know, you gotta take care of yourself.
Okay. Yeah, definitely. It's important, to make sure you're not put in any danger, yada, yada, yada. Let's see. Give me, as we go out, final thoughts, pitch out for people to get organized to your stuff, et cetera, et cetera.
You know, just my final thoughts is, I'm trying really hard to get some things up and running for Albuquerque, New Mexico, and like with the job program, with the youth boxing. And if anybody is interested in hearing more information, please contact me. We can have a call and I would be happy to speak with you. And really just, at the end of the day, it's our purpose here is how much of a difference we can make in someone else's life.
Yeah, most definitely. Very important. Making a difference in this world, making it better, improving the quality of people's lives. I mean, all that stuff is just wonderful. So thank you very much for engaging that and doing that work and sharing it with other people. Thanks. We got your .coms and all the websites people want to check you out at.
Okay.
All right.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Okay,
thanks,
take care. Okay.
Thank you. And thanks, joining us for tuning in. Go to goodreads.com/Chris Voss, LinkedIn.com/Chris Voss, Chris Voss1 on the TikTokity, and all those other crazy places on the internet. Be good to each other. Stay safe. We'll see you next time.
You've been listening to the most amazing, intelligent podcast ever made to improve your brain and your life. Warning, consuming too much of the Chris Voss Show podcast can lead to people thinking you're smarter, younger, and irresistible sexy. Consume in regularly moderated amounts. Consult a doctor for any resulting brain bleed.
All right, Victoria. So this will be up in about 2 or 3 days.